inspirational story for you next. And 5 years ago, a last-minute change to a holiday plan took our next guest to Malawi. But little did she know it would be such a life-changing experience. Here to tell us more is the lady herself, Gaynor Asquith. Very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Now, that last-minute change led to you doing some fantastic work through PAW. Explain to us what PAW's all about.
PAW, Project African Wilderness, it started as a conservation charity and a conservation project in Malawi. It actually began with an argument that I kept going for 3 weeks when we were on holiday in Malawi with the man who took us round, Ken Smith. And that argument led to us forming, co-founding Project African Wilderness to save Mwabvi Wildlife Reserve in Malawi. So that's what we do, but as a conservation charity, we have to work with the people who live around the reserve. And there are 60,000 people there. So we're a complete community conservation project.
The interesting thing, I think, with conservation, with dealing with these huge areas involving the indigenous flora and fauna, is the relationship between the environment and the people that live there, the constant conflict between animals and farmers and the like. Is this one of the main areas of concern for you?
Absolutely, and that's why we need to be there to help the Malawians protect the wildlife reserve and also use it to their benefit, because a large part of our work is helping the local people improve their use of wood so that they're not using as many of the trees that are there, helping them plant new trees, helping them with businesses, and everything up to and including we're helping the local orphans school. I mean, you can't get involved in Africa, wherever you come into the country, without wanting to help the people there.
We've got some fabulous pictures there from your last trip to Malawi. We'd sort of give people at home a flavour of what you saw and what happened when we was there. Now, you spoke about helping the local people. What's their reaction been like? Has it been quite difficult going in as a Westerner and saying, right, we're going to do all this, or have they been quite receptive to the changes that you've wanted to make? Well,
the Malawians, and especially Ken Smith, my co-founder, who is an African himself, are quite clear that my role is to listen to them and support them and not to go in and dictate. The people, especially the village headmen, the group village headman, Mr. Ungalui, you saw a picture of him a short while ago, are very keen to see us now because they are very remote from what we'd call administration and support. So they're very keen to see us there, but they're also very keen to make sure that they have their say and that they're involved in the process. And then, of course, we start to talk with people who want to use the reserve to take firewood. We're dealing with poaching. So we've got that conflict resolution as well.
How significant an area is Mwabvi National Park, the park itself? Is it home to rare and endangered species of animals?
Well, it used to be the last place in Malawi that you'd find the black rhino, and black rhino are endangered across Africa. So our ultimate aim is to put the black rhino back in the reserve, because by the time we do that, we'll have had to protect the reserve, we'll have been working with the people for many years, we will have an infrastructure, we will have trained up the local people to be able to look after the black rhino and other animals. But we've also got a whole range of habitats, so we can put giraffe back in, we can put elephants back in, there are already leopards there. And we've got loads of small creatures like white-tailed mongoose and beautiful birds. And it is a blessed part of Africa.
Sounds fabulous. What's the experience been like for you, though? I mean, it's so far removed from what people watching it in Greater Manchester certainly will go through on a day-to-day basis. What long-term effect has it left with you?
Well, it's a lot warmer than Manchester, I have to say.
Don't believe it.
I was there 4 weeks ago, and the temperature in November can reach 45 degrees centigrade where we are in southern Malawi. The main thing is trees. I look out of my office window in Manchester and I can count trees. I think there are 5 I can see from my window where we are in Ancoats. In Mwabvi, we've got something between 12 and 15 million trees of different types that we're trying to protect. But it's also the warm heart of Africa, and the people there are as friendly as the people in Manchester are.
Oh, wow, they really must be friendly people.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the Malawi Ordeal. Now, this is a fundraising event.
That's right, yes. There are 2 ordeals. There's one in Malawi in April, but there's one in Manchester coming up on the 21st of March. It's a cycling ordeal. People in Malawi aspire to bikes because if they have a bike they can get around, they don't have to walk, and they've also got a taxi service. We don't want you to be a taxi in Manchester, but on March the 21st we want people to test themselves by cycling around Clayton Vale on an off-road course. We're going to have a few celebrities who will be cycling as well, so they can pitch themselves against the celebs. And there'll be prizes for the winners, as well as a great way to keep fit in the new year.
Excellent. We've got the details up on the screen now
absolutely.
where people can get more information about how they get involved in that. As Byron mentioned, there's another Malawi ordeal, isn't there, that's going to happen in Malawi?
In
How do
Malawi,
people
yes.
get involved with that?
Well, we decided that as people aspire to cycle in Malawi, we should actually cycle ourselves. We've set up a sponsored bike ride, and that's towards the end of April next year, just after Easter. I'm looking for people who can get sponsored to come and join us. It'll only be a small group, up to 20, 25 of us. And I keep saying us because I have been persuaded to do this myself. The last time I cycled was in the previous millennium. So I'm a bit out of condition, but we will be cycling there, raising money for charity, and there'll also be an opportunity to actually see the reserve.
Is there an ideal figure in mind of money being raised? Do you have an ultimate sum?
If you're talking about the cycle ride and sponsorship, then I hope that with the Manchester and the Mwabvi cycle ordeals, we'll raise something between £30,000 and £50,000. But we need a lot of money. We need £350,000 just to put a fence around the reserve to protect the people on one side and the animals on the other.
Okay, now thank you very much for joining. It's been a fascinating insight into what's been known as the Walmart of Africa, Malawi. Why is that? Just
the warm heart of Africa.
The warm heart.
The warm heart of Africa.
It's like when you mishear song lyrics.
All the way through, I was thinking, why do you call it the Walmart of Africa?
But that is an idea. Maybe we could do that.
Brilliant. Right, swiftly moving on.
After a while, Gaynor.
Lovely to meet you. We'll be on our bikes up in Clayton Vale.
Good. I'm delighted to see you.
OK, now coming next, a 10-year-old footballing superstar, Charlie Dass, will be telling us why winning the Football Captain of the Year. And after 8, all your latest news, traffic, travel and weather. Back soon.